Hello, good morning, and welcome to our 48th Holding Space for Self and Others. Lovely to see you here today, whether you're joining us live or whether you're watching a recording afterwards. My name's Jackie, and I'm the Director of Sydney Centre for Creative Change. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the lands that I come to you from today, the Eora people of the Gadigal Nation, and pay our collective respects to the Indigenous elders, past, present, and emerging, who have and who will continue to look after the lands, sea and sky in this great land that we're all abiding on. So welcome one and all. Great if you can have your cameras on today. It's wonderful to be able to see your beautiful faces and have you see each other, and have Cathy, our presenter today, be able to see you as well. We are going to be inviting you into some practical work. It's going to be a really immersive training, and for that purpose, we're actually going to be closing the doors at 10:15. So great you're here nice and early to actively participate today. If you would like a copy of the recording of this after, it'll be available in a couple of weeks, and I'll send you an email when it is available. If you'd like a PD certificate for participating today, we're going to put a link to the quiz that will enable you to get your PD certificate, to create your own and get it today, in the chat function at the end of today. So we're going to be here for an hour and 15 minutes today. And in that hour and 15 minutes, you'll have a chance to do some exercises, to participate really actively in this training, and to be able to do a quiz to assess your takeaways. And if you get 4 out of 5 right or more of that quiz, you'll get an automatic web address to be able to put into your search engine like Google, and to be able to produce your own PD certificate for 60 minutes for today. So great you're here, and great that you can keep it on mute until we have an opportunity for some direct Q&As and breakout room participation, and cameras on if you possibly can. I've got an exciting presentation today. Cathy Williams is going to be presenting Cultivating Creative, Reflective, Embodied Practice. And we're going to be seeing what that is, and ideally participating in what that feels like as well. Sharing some introduction slides with you, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Cathy. She is a movement and expressive arts therapy facilitator, and has worked in the field of community development within Australia and internationally for 14 years, designing and implementing a number of grassroots community, youth and social justice programs focused on capacity building. Her intuitive self offerings since 2016 utilise movement and creative modalities as avenues to enhance participants' connection to their innate body wisdom and strengthen their ability to listen to, trust in, and follow their intuitive guidance. Encouraging clients' agency and creative self-discovery, Cathy guides individuals and groups through experiences to inspire curious inquiry and access inner resources, which support them to navigate the ebb and flow of this wildlife. And this is what she's going to be inviting you into today as well. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Cathy with us here today, and she's going to be guiding and leading us throughout. So again, if you can have your cameras on, that's really ideal. And I think you would have been sent some invitations about what to bring with you. So it's some paper and some drawing materials and a little bit of space and a comfortable environment to be able to move around a little bit. So if you've got that, you can definitely participate and get the most out of our training today. So welcome, Cathy.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jackie. And hi, and welcome to everyone. It's so nice to see so many warm faces, and really beautiful to be with you here. Thank you so much for your interest and your curiosity and openness to being part of this session. So as Jackie said, we've got just over an hour together. So I want to try and fill it with as much juicy goodness as possible. So to begin, I thought I'd give just a really quick snapshot of how I got into this field of work and the intention behind today's theme of cultivating creative, reflective, embodied practices. as Jackie said, my background is in community development and capacity building projects. So I've been a youth worker, a program coordinator, team leader, and facilitator of various different projects. And this work took me overseas, working on a grassroots level with communities for many, many years. And as much as I deeply loved this work and being fully immersed in the communities, I was never really present with my body. So I was always living really from my mind. I was always thinking about what I had to do. My days were really jam-packed with this go, 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 like must be productive attitude. And as such, I was essentially treating my body as a bit of a vessel just to get from A to B. So long story short, as a result of back-to-back projects and being in that way of living, I returned home to Melbourne quite significantly burnt out, and quite jaded actually from this field that I had been so dedicated to. It was at this time that I was invited to a workshop, and my friend who invited me, I didn't quite know what was going to be involved, but what I experienced blew me away. It was a really small workshop. It was just a small circle of women. And the facilitator basically from the get-go welcomed us and all of the different parts of us to take up space and to be felt and heard. So we didn't have to talk about what we were going through in life. We didn't have to sort of go into the story of it, but rather we were encouraged to feel it and express it through the body, through movement, through sound, through drawing and writing. And it was there that I actually was able to pause on the back of these back-to-back projects and really feel all of the tension that I'd been holding for so long. And in this way, I was given permission to feel it and express it without analyzing what it was or trying to problem solve it. It was incredibly liberating. So naturally afterwards, I went up to the facilitator and I was like, what is this? And so began my long journey of deep diving into the worlds of somatic movement therapy and art therapy practices, going into studies and immersions and being mentored by different teachers in different modalities. And in 2016, I started my own offerings under my business Intuitive Self, which has been for me the perfect fusion of still being able to continue my work in community, but now with a well-being and personal development framework. So bringing in body connection and creative modalities which support participants to resource themselves. Now, the reason I am sharing that with you all is because perhaps you can relate to seasons in your life where you have lived solely in your mind, or moments where you have felt quite disconnected or not as aware and in your body as you may desire to be. And being practitioners who hold space for others and knowing the necessity of needing our own practices to keep going, that's why I have decided to theme today's webinar on cultivating these practices for ourselves. So as a holder of space, I know what that requires from each of us in our roles as practitioners. And I also know what it's like to be burnt out. And since that time, it has been sort of a personal mission to reframe any belief that I had around self-care being, selfish or indulgent, and to really live and breathe the practices that have been such pillars for my own healing journey, and which I now share with others so that I can give from the overflow and constantly be replenished and resourced in how I move through the world. So the intention behind all my offerings is to create spaces and experiences for participants to connect deeply with themselves and to be in a space of non-judgment for what comes up, really allowing what is there to be, for us to be curious about it, and for us to virtually give it some space and an opportunity to be heard. Because I believe that our bodies are constantly in communication with us. And if we can use these different practices and processes and get creative with ways that we can discover this wisdom, it's a deepening and a strengthening of that resource. So as Jackie said, today's session is going to be quite experiential. I'm going to offer a bit of a taster of different processes to connect you with your body. And I've designed it in a way so that each process sort of flows into the next, and there's a bit of a layering with integration at the end. Because of the nature of the time, everything is a bit shorter. So it's a bit more of a taster, but I hope that you can take inspiration from what you experienced today and expand it in your own time. And the way that I'll be sort of facilitating is I'll sort of run through them, give a bit of a summary at the very end, and then offer some reflective questions that you can ponder and discuss in your breakout rooms. I just want to make a note that everything is invitational. So thank you so much for having your cameras on. I have been told that in the recording, you won't be seen, so don't worry, it's just me. But yes, I always encourage you to be curious and take inspiration from my guidance. And if something doesn't resonate, just let it go. That's all okay. Use it as an opportunity for deep listening to how your body wants to respond in regards to the prompts and what it needs in each moment to moment. So I have asked, that's a lot of listening, so thank you for that. Let's get into it. So on the paper that I asked everyone to bring, what I'd like to get you to do is to draw 2 gingerbread shape people. So just like this, they can be on separate pieces of paper or they can be side by side. So just a simple shape just to outline a neutral body. And once you've done that, I invite you to put that just to the side. And if you're comfortable to just close or lower your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. There's nothing that you need to do or change with your breath. Just becoming aware of it. Noticing the flow of your breath. The pace and quality of your breath in this moment. Noticing your contact with the chair or the floor beneath you. And with each breath, allowing yourself to soften a little more, to be held and supported in this moment. Begin to notice how you're holding your body, how your body may be holding you. And as you continue to be with your breath, calling your attention to this present moment. I invite you to scan over your body from the crown of your head down to your feet and simply notice what you are aware of. What sensations are present? What areas of your body your attention is drawn towards? And taking the time to notice all of the different parts of you, the different body parts that might not necessarily get your day-to-day attention. Across the face, back of the skull, your eyebrow line, your jawline, down the neck, across the shoulders and collarbones, down your arms, elbows, wrists, palms and fingers. Noticing the sensations, not judging or analyzing, just noticing. Across the rib cage, down the spine, to your hips and pelvic bowl, down your legs, knees, ankles, across the tops of your feet, the soles of your feet. And with your next breath, checking in now with your internal landscape. What emotions might be present here? And just sending your breath to those places. And taking another breath again, I invite you to open your eyes gently and turn towards the first shape that you drew. And just note down what you noticed. Using different colors, lines and shapes. There might have been some tension in your neck. So scribbling that down. Some tingling in your hands. Making note of the different sensations. Any feelings you're aware of. And any thoughts that may have come in. And just putting that to the side now. And some of you have already moved into a standing position, but if others want to do the same for this next part. So I'm going to run through 3 different styles of somatic touch. So first, following the same direction of the crown to the feet, you're going to begin by patting. So you can either use the fingertips or the full hand and just starting to pat across the crown, the face. You get to choose the pace of that patting, how hard or soft. And in your own time, going across the face, the back of the neck, down. And as you like, across the arms, the chest, the other arm. And we're essentially waking up all of these different parts of our body. Across the chest and the back. There may be a different rhythm forming across your hips and down your legs. Back up and down the other leg. And when you've done your whole body, just closing your eyes again, taking a breath and noticing the different sensations that may be alive in this moment. Noticing what area of your body may be drawing your attention. Now the second touch we're going to move into is quite intuitive. So a few of you I saw were doing this before. So just start to follow some impulses. Again, it might be from the crown of your head down to your feet, of how that area of your body wants to move or stretch or be held and touch. Any adjustments your body wants to make, that part of you wants to make. Maybe it's a rolling of the shoulders, a stretching out of your arms. Maybe it's individually pressing your fingers. Where is your attention being drawn to, and how does that body part want to move or adjust in this moment? Just allowing yourself to follow the impulses of what feels good and needed. Maybe there's a bit of shaking. Maybe there's some energy there that wants to shift out. Maybe it's a swaying of the hips. Maybe it's a stomping of the feet. Yeah, beautiful. It's just really allowing your body to lead you in what feels good and needed in this moment. Any areas of tension that you're holding, just allowing that to naturally flow. Beautiful. And just moving that down to your legs if you haven't already, and your feet. Sometimes we can get caught up in just giving one part of our body attention and not remembering that we're a full body of all of these different parts that are quite interconnected. And the last one we're going to do is a bit of a brushing or caressing. So just from the crown again, down to your feet, just a gentle brushing, soft, intentional touch over these places. If there's some areas that wish for more support, this brushing might turn into a gentle squeeze, a gentle massage. Remembering to breathe as we do this. It might not be often that these parts of yourself get this kind of intentional touch, intentional kindness. Just breathing and allowing. And again, becoming attuned to which part of your body wants some extra love in this moment. Brushing and caressing. And I invite you to do sort of one big swoop from the crown all the way down to your feet, to the ground. Coming back up, the crown again, across the top, front, back, down your legs to your feet, and back up again. Just reminding yourself that you're in this body. And when you come back up to the top, just closing or lowering your eyes, taking a breath. What do you notice now within your body? What sensations are alive? What areas draw your attention? And I invite you to note these down on your second body shape now. Choosing a particular color that you're drawn to. Adding lines, shapes. To your piece. So for this next bit, I'm going to play some music, and I encourage you, even if it's not your flavor of music, just allow the music to support your exploration. And again, all my prompts are invitational. Take inspiration from them and flow with what your body wants and needs and desires. So I invite you to take a look at your two body maps side by side and choose an area that you're curious about. So this might be a particular part of your body that's been highlighted. It might be a particular squiggle or line that you added. It may be a color that you drew with that's really getting your attention, or even a word that you might have noted down. And so that is going to be our entry point. That's our starting point. So getting back up into a standing position. I'd like for you to bring your attention to that part of your body. So you may wish to bring touch to that place. You may wish to send your breath to this place. And I invite you to get curious about what this part of yourself, which has your attention, wishes to share with you in this moment. What does it need in this moment? How does it want to be held or touched, stretched, or moved? Allow your body to adjust, stretch out, to begin to soften into movement. However subtle or large these movements are, this is your invitation to begin to express what this part of your body is feeling. Allowing your body to lead. There's no right way to move. You don't have to worry about what it looks like. How does this part of you wish to move? And how does that then connect with other parts of your body? Allow yourself to follow any impulses. What feels interesting or curious. How can one movement lead into another? Allow yourself to get playful with it. What movements feel supportive? And allow this movement to develop, naturally unfolding into another movement. If a movement feels good or pleasurable, how can you repeat this? How can you expand into this? Make it bigger or smaller. Breathing and allowing what is present within you that is longing to be expressed in this moment. And can you gently give yourself permission to feel into that part of yourself? Leaning into it, even just 5%. Allowing different feelings that may be present just to rise and take up space in this moment. To move what wishes to be moved. Not thinking about the movement, just feeling, breathing and feeling. Allowing the music to support your exploration. You might be moving with the music or against it. Allowing your body to lead, to create its own rhythm within the support of this container. breathing. Being with your breath as you sink a little deeper. It is coming through. Aware of your body in this space, in this room. How can you allow yourself to take up more space in this moment? Moving through the different levels, perhaps up high or down low. Stretching into the fullness of all that you are in this moment and all that wishes to be shared with you. And how can you find moments of pleasure and joy the body and these movements? Not judging anything that's rising within you, giving it permission to come through the body, to move it out in whatever glorious, silly, joyful way it wishes. Breathing. Being aware of all of the different sensations running through your body in this moment. And I invite you to find a final movement or gesture or shape to close off your movement exploration. And breathing into your final shape, repeating that final movement. Feeling it fully, feeling your whole body in this time and place and shape. And after taking another breath here, I invite you to turn to a blank page and continue your exploration now on a blank page. So with this same playful, curious, explorative nature, choose a color that you're drawn to and just begin to be open to what wants to come out on the page. In the chat, I'm also going to put some writing prompts. There may be one or two that you feel called to answer. Just a stream of consciousness writing to one or two of the prompts if you feel called to. So I'll just give you another minute just to add to your piece. Of course, I usually like to give a lot more time for each section, but this is just a bit of a taster for you. Adding any final lines or shapes or words. So as you're finishing that up, I might just do a bit of a summary of what we've moved through today before going into our breakout groups. So you may have noticed that I started with the breath. So the breath is an anchor point for us, for our clients. It is a place that we can always return to. I brought in some body awareness with a scan and then capturing that on paper in our own way. So with this, we're developing our own cues, our own dialogue with our body and how it wishes to communicate. We brought in different styles of touch. So different ways that we can self-soothe to determine our own safety, our own comfort levels, getting familiar with what we like, what we don't like, bring attention to new or familiar places within our body, waking up different parts of ourselves so that we are fully, as much as possible, in our body in that moment. The body scan and the body map exercise can become part of a daily practice as you wake up, before you go to bed, during your day, on a commute to work, at your desk even. You may like to even start a bit of a body map journal. So noticing what you notice and how it changes over time, what you notice during the week, what different body habits or patterns are forming. And even with the body scan and the body touch, you are creating your own somatic sequence of waking up the body parts and giving loving attention to all parts of yourself intentionally. And what this does is it begins a dialogue with your body and you're starting to recognize your own cues. So it's a dialogue between your mind and your body and your heart. So you'll notice the different sensations and then how they're linked to the different feelings or the different thoughts and emotions, and how these different thoughts may impact your body or how they're held in your body, what different emotions are linked to different sensations that you're feeling. And as we increase this awareness with our own body or with our client's body, we can come back to body reveals. So what might be going on for you in this moment? What is your body doing right now? What is present in your body? Where can you feel it in your body? And then that exercise of choosing a particular part as an entry point and being curious as what it wishes to say or how it wishes to move and express. This is about actually acknowledging it and giving it space to be felt, because too often we can dismiss it, we can jump to wanting to analyze it or problem solve it, or it may be just too uncomfortable to feel, so we want to numb it or disconnect from it. But it's through the feeling, I believe, and through the expression of the feeling that we're able to move it and let it breathe. And in that, giving attention to it, it can soften. Even if it expands and takes up a lot of space, it is shifting in its own way. And through this dialogue with self, we can come to understand our different parts of ourselves and how we can meet the needs of ourselves. So just before we go into breakout groups, I'm going to put some questions in the chat again for reflective discussion that you can ponder either with yourself or afterwards or with this group. There's different questions for each section that we move through today. And obviously there's no obligation to share. Please share as much or as little as you wish. Let's be really supportive of the people who do choose to share. Everyone's experience is valid, and I believe it's a courageous and vulnerable act to gift others with our sharing. So let's receive each other with compassion and non-judgment. So I'm just going to put those questions in the chat, and I believe someone is going to.
Thank you, Cathy. Yeah, we'll take over the breakout rooms. Thank you so much for that incredibly dynamic, experiential introduction to this incredible work that you do. I could just see people moving in the background as I was moving as well. So I really enjoyed that, and I know many of you would have as well, who were able to participate so actively today. We're going to give you about 7 minutes, so not a long time in the breakout rooms, and you'll be with 3 or 4 other people. And as Cathy's invited, to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for taking that opportunity to share with others and reflect on some of your experiences that you had in that very amazing and dynamic presentation. I'd like to give you a couple of minutes to say anything or reflect on what any of this experience was like, doing it, drawing it, writing it, or sharing it with others. And if you have any questions for Cathy, this is a good opportunity. Feel free to pop them in the chat. She can read out and respond to some of those. Or if you would like to just give me a physical wave, and I'll ask you to unmute and share any of your thoughts, feelings, reflections, or questions now. We move into winding up our time together today. Anybody?
I just love how intuitive we are, really, you know, that we all do actually know what we need and where we're happy to go. And yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alison. Great. Oh, Jill. Oh, Jill, you're on mute still, sorry.
Oh, am I meant to be on mute or Jill? Was it Jill?
Jill, there you go. You're unmuted now.
Hi, yeah, I find this really exciting because that's the sort of thing that I'm moving into more and more and more. And, you know, like started with the open heart meditations and the gratitude meditations, which I keep up and I love that. Also, Inner Segal, the secret language of your body, and, you know, all that sort of thing, because as you said, is it Danielle, I think said, we have all the answers. We just have to connect to it, you know. But I just wanted to say, when we first drew our little man, he was not, it was interesting because it didn't, like, there was nothing in there. All I could feel was the pain in my hip, you know. So then the second one, after we finished our first little thing, I was flowing everywhere, but still that little bit of thing there. And then after our dancing session, it was really cool because I recognized that it's coming from the strength of my back, which I feel unsupported because I've done a lot of stuff on my own in life. And it's like then leaning on that sciatic nerve, which goes down. So, and I knew that, but this was just really helpful. I love the way you put it together, Cathy. You know, it was really, really good. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that, Jill. And I think we have a question from Anne in the chat here. So we might have time just for one question. And I'll give you Cathy's email and other contact addresses if you wanted to contact her directly to ask any questions or to find out about other of her offerings. She's definitely available for that. The question from Anne is, how can we warm a client up to the process to give permission to do this? I think I've definitely had a feeling of a progressive warm up, but I wonder if you had any other ideas there, Cathy. Share.
Yeah, great question. And I feel like the getting really curious as to what they might be hesitant about. So what I've found when it comes to movement and dance, that can be a really, you know, big, intimidating word for a lot of people. So getting them just to feel into their breath and their body and knowing that we're always moving, even when we're seemingly still, the breath is moving the body. So every subtle movement is still a movement. So connecting with their breath, and then I find that touch can be a nice way in. So, sometimes even the scan, with our mind's eye going over the body, if we're quite disconnected from our body, that's unhelpful. So actually, like, being really present to different parts, and even getting really specific. So I did quite a quick scan through, but you can be quite specific and take as long as you want on particular parts as well. Focus in, like, what's your eyebrows doing right now? Can you raise them? Can you do a frowny face? Can you bring them up? What does it feel like to smooth them over? And then that could be a nice entry point to different parts of the body. And maybe you just start with one part of the body. Maybe it's a really slow build that you do with them, and always being client-led with what they feel comfortable with. They might do a movement on the chair. They might do this. Be like, cool, what does that, can we do that again? Can we exaggerate that? Can we expand it out? What does it do? What does it feel like when we hunch in? What does it feel like when we do this? So taking the cues from their body that you might have picked up on, that they might not even be aware of, can always be a good entry point as well.
Wonderful. Thanks, Cathy, for those really practical suggestions that are really working with us as we are, rather than necessarily imposing or inviting action or activity or movement beyond where we are. I think they're lovely warm-up beginnings. So thank you. That's really beautiful. I'd like to move into just the last couple of minutes of our time together today. And it was great that we had this opportunity to share with, connect with others, as well as having that opportunity to really connect into ourselves in this movement-based way today. Some of the other programs that we have coming up in the next couple of weeks are an art therapy group online. This is something that we've been running for a number of years now, and it's 5 weekly sessions for 2 hours. And our next group starts on the 20th of September. So if you're interested in self-paced and self-exploration art, some of you might have started some of this today, you're welcome, all are welcome to join for that. We also have a therapeutic storytelling workshop over 3 mornings, from the 25th to the 27th of September, with an amazing author who's published lots of books about stories that can be used for therapeutic purposes. And she gives you a framework to be able to create your own therapy stories for yourself and for others in counselling and group work. Really lovely practical workshop too. For those who might be working with children who are neurodiverse, our Ort Play therapy training program again is running in October with Dr. Robert Grant, who's the founder of Ort Play Therapy. And we have limited places left in that, but that's a really amazing interactive training as well with him. One of our new programs this year is one run by Kim Billington, who's a very well-known trainer for us. She's been working with us for many years, and she's really dynamic and informed about narrative therapy and creative processes, and some somatic work within that too. She's going to be running a professional development course for mental health professionals around seeing our own journey, creating personal maps for developing self-awareness, and that's a 5-week group as well. And for those particularly interested in using some of these movement interventions for children, again, Robert's going to be running a morning 3-hour workshop for us coming up soon. Our next free presentation is the 17th of November. This will be our last one for the year in the Holding Space series. And this is something that I've not heard of before, called cinema therapy. And it's using movies and films to help people in therapy express, explore, and understand things that are most important to them by using film and film excerpts. So this will be a really interesting presentation too. So do feel free to register for that one. That's available on our website now, and I'll send you a link to all of these if you're interested in them later on. So fun and games time now. You can win a copy of Cathy's book, Body Wisdom, and a $50 webinar right now. Cathy's book, Body Wisdom, is some more information about a guide to connecting with your intuitive self. And if you're interested in how to get this book, if you don't happen to be our lucky winner today, then the details of how to contact her for the book will be available soon. And someone will also win a therapeutic play for attachment issues workshop with the amazing Sue Jennings, and that's coming up in October. So what I'm going to invite you to do is, if you're happy to share a physical position that today you found nurturing, if you're happy to share what that looks like with everybody, you could win one of our 2 prizes today. So the first 2 people to write "I am" in the chat and demonstrate that, I'll invite as a prize. Oh, well done. All these "I am." Wonderful. All are, absolutely. All right, we're just going to pick the first 2 who are the quickest. Sin, is it? Sign? Do you want to unmute and show us your position?
Yeah, and mine was like my neck and my head.
You don't need to put any words to it.
Okay.
Just show us what it looks like. Beautiful. Okay, you're a lucky winner. You get the book. All right, great work. And number 2, Alison, you get the webinar. If you want to show us what your position looks like.
That's a good one.
You're there. All right, lovely. Thank you, Alison. Well done. And thank you so much for being here and for moving and for being with us. And if you could join me in thanking Cathy as virtually as you would like to in offering all she has today. So thank you so much, Cathy. It really was an amazing presentation.
Thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed it. And look out for Jackie's email, because I've got a special offer on my self-paced course just for the people who have joined today. So you get a discount of $70, I think. So yeah, thank you so much. And congratulations, Sin. I'll be sending this out to you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Cathy. Thanks so much. Bye all. See you next time.